case this seemingly arcane, abstruse, and unsettling fact has managed to elude your perception. In psychiatry, there is a perfunctory veneer of compassion that hides a more sinister, eugenic agenda of greed and death. Let's go through the list of things they're doing. Starting off with the prolonged frustration that comes with dealing with a bunch of sniveling scum that avoid my key points and oppress me overtly as well as covertly. They blacklist me, they destroy my love life, they've hacked my computer, my phone, they prank call me, they do noise campaigns, they drug and fume me on record, they vandalize my car, they potentially sexually assaulted me, they slow down my videos and criticize my martial arts, they attack everything that I hold sacred and dear to my heart, the principles of God, sacred morality, my martial arts philosophies, my family, my friends. There isn't a low-down, dirty trick they haven't employed. And there isn't a representative of one of their inferior groups they haven't deployed. So when you consider these things, you will hear me make my argument in clips because there are helicopters flying over due to a fire. And the last clip, there will be an angry outburst. And in a very rational state of mind where I can present my argument in a very cogent, concise, and effective manner, I say that yes, I've heard myself when I said it. I've played the video clip again, and I do not see any symptoms of mental illness as defined by them even, nor do I see any abnormal thinking or illogical thoughts. What I see is someone who is more perceptive than 99% of the population. And I can go right now and get my mom to admit on record that I scored the top 1 percentile on the SSAT. So not only is what I see from the perspective of someone with 175 IQ, I'm assuming that's the top 1%. It's above genius. Genius is 150. But when you go back to the SSAT, it's also consistent with the idea that I'm more in touch with society and societal expectations than 99% of people. So if someone who is as perceptive as the top 1%, he might even be the most perceptive, he might be the middle range of the top 1%, he might barely be in the top 1%, but that doesn't matter because he's in the top 1%. If you can say someone as perceptive as I am is out of touch and get away with it and drug him covertly and force medicate him as a result and justify it legally or socially, then psychiatry must be dismantled. It must be dissolved. It is an invalid pseudoscience that should be dealt with as such. Furthermore, if someone who is as educated as the top 1% of people, as perceptive as the top 1% of people, and probably wiser than everyone, is not capable of making his own choices when it comes to mental health, then who the hell is? If when he is calm, like I am right now, you do not allow me to tell you what I believe should be done, then what kind of a society are we living in? This is someone with 175 IQ, a college degree, who scored the top 1 percentile on the SSAT. His whole life, he's been more perceptive than everyone. Going back to kindergarten, algebra 2. If this person, when he is calm, rational, and reasonable, not when he's experiencing righteous indignation to its extreme or an intense sensation of moral outrage, but in a very calm and more normal than normative state of mind. If I can't say, look, I don't wish to be drugged, I'm not going to take drugs, and if I break the law, which I have no criminal record of, if I break the law, I am prepared to accept the consequences of my actions. What I am not prepared to do is to be set up by law enforcement who have already pulled me over under false pretenses, blatantly false. When I was going 148, Highway Patrol pulled me over and said, when I was going 48 miles an hour, Highway Patrol pulled me over and said I was going 78 miles an hour. They've already showed a desire, a willingness to set me up. Mental health has shown the same desire. What I'm not willing to do is to be force medicated or covertly medicated or set up. And nobody should be willing to be subjected to that. Are we going to let criminals, greedy criminal scum with inferior philosophies, determine every aspect of our lives? Give us a list of things we're allowed to do. Tell us the do's and don'ts. Tell us what philosophies we're allowed to have. Are we to let a bunch of psychiatrists dictate to us how to behave? These are pseudo-scientific oppressors. They have no right to even tell their own children how to behave when you truly break things down. They are unfit to lead. They are unfit to diagnose. And they're unfit to even speak about morality or converse about ethics. These people are traitors to humanity that cause permanent cognitive impairment and murder 500,000 people every year in Western countries alone. When we let those types of pedophile-loving, system supporting trash force medicate people with 175 IQ who have demonstrated an admirable ability to control themselves. I'm 35 years old with no criminal record. Where's the dead bodies? Where's the assaults on my record? Where's the robbery? Clean criminal record. Closest thing to it is something I've said. Oh no, he's gotten angry and said something and gotten carried away. Like everyone else never does that. When we let mass murderers who use a pseudoscience on behalf of a system of white supremacy and Jewish banking tell good Christian men with 175 IQ when to take their drugs, their eugenic pills that kill 500,000 people in Western countries alone, then we are living in hell. And that is putting it lightly. But to let these very same knaves covertly drug someone in the name of national security, social control, or any other nonsensical pretense, my goodness, I really don't know which one's worse. Holding someone down and letting a gay stick a needle in his butt like they've done to me before, while they're laughing, waving, and smiling? Or covertly drugging somebody and the demonic effects of these dastardly brutes, these insufficient fiends. Drugs kick in unbeknownst when it is not expected. Messing up his martial arts by itself is very dangerous. Sports injuries are multiplied when you are covertly drugged. I don't think I need to explain that. Driving is made more dangerous when you are unexpectedly and covertly drugged. I don't think I need to explain that. My story by itself shows the urgent need to dissolve psychiatry. These people thought they knew best, and now I have permanent cognitive impairment after I highlighted that that was a result of psychiatry and psychiatric pills. I have permanent loss of vision and sensitivity to sunlight after I highlighted that as a potential and quite common consequence of psychiatric pills, and I cited that as a reason that I did not want to take them. And like I'm wearing these glasses right now, if something helps me, I do it. Psych pills don't help me. These glasses make me look fucking stupid. I look like a fucking weird geek, nerd, ninny with these glasses. But I still wear them. That destroys the idea that I wouldn't take psych meds because I think it's not cool. My goodness. I look worse than fucking Urkel with these glasses and any other glasses at that. But I wear them. Because they help me. Unlike psych meds. I've even had gang stalkers say to me that they're willing to go on record and say that if they were in my shoes, they would feel the same way about it that I do. Talk about socially normative. In fact, I haven't met a single person in all 4 years or so since the gang stalking began that has said that they wouldn't react the way I have. Not a single person. So the idea of a psychological disorder becomes beyond laughable. Everyone has their limits. When somebody has you tied up and they're slapping your kid, right? You start yelling about it. The more they do it, the more you're worked up. Okay? Like, stop it already! I'll talk! You know, type of shit. You see what I'm saying? How do you think water torture works, right? Where they drop the drops of water on you, slowly but surely driving you fucking insane. They wear you down because people have certain thresholds. And my goodness. When you're little, your parents say, that's one, that's two, or they start counting, right? 1, 2. They're saying, hey, you're pushing it to the limit, pal, and I'm gonna punish you. Because everyone has their limits. Now you gotta understand, on record, stress makes people have certain muscle movements, and the brain is a muscle as well, that makes it harder for them to speak fluidly. And I'll put it in the comments. It's on record. Now, anxiety, according to all the psychologists, all the experts, quote unquote, is linked to anger, right? And you start building up certain anxieties about things. The thought of somebody breaking into your car, for example, makes you buy a car alarm. And if you say you leave your wallet on the hood of your car and you tell somebody that, you say, hey, you know what, I have to go right now because I left my wallet on the hood of my car. And they start bullshitting you and dragging it out, right? You might start getting angry. You're like, look, I gotta go, right? Because it's linked to that anxiety. However, now don't confuse anxieties or panic attacks with being a pussy. There are some things you should have anxieties about. You know, if you passed out at a party and you don't know what happened to you and you woke up naked, if you don't panic, you're an idiot, right? If you start drinking at a party and you notice that something is off and you start feeling drowsy, if you don't panic and say, you know what, I need to get somewhere safe or I need to notify a friend, you're an idiot. So panic attacks, anxiety, and anger, these things are your friend. It is when society holds it against you. These things that are intertwined, that they become a problem. Now, when psychiatrists explain these things to people, they do so in a way that is fraudulent. That's why psychiatry is a fraud. It is half-truths and oversimplifications. They say, well, you have a mood disorder, which is caused by a chemical imbalance in your brain. Well, no shit. Your brain is made up of chemicals. So when you're angry, there's a certain shift in the chemical balance of your brain. You know, and then they say, well, there's something that triggers it. Yeah, when you have a reason to be upset. So there are people who have, you know, a certain genetic makeup and gene expression plays out in a certain way that perhaps they have proclivities toward anger. They're sensitive. They're temperamental. But so what? Regardless if there's a genetic component or not, it boils down to philosophy and culture and things of this nature when it comes to the individual's personal decision, his personal choice. He has a human right to decide how to deal with it. For example, sex calms you down. If I told you you have to have sex with, you know, my friend over there whenever you're angry, you would say that's a violation of human rights. You know, it's my body, right? How's that any different than you have to take this pill that has sexual side effects if you get angry in a way that I don't approve of? If you express your anger in a way that I don't approve of? Well, the smart person would say automatically that's a violation of human rights. Because there's Christians who do it a certain way. They pray. There are Buddhists who go on a Buddhist retreat and they meditate and they go for a walk and they do breathing exercises, right? And they work with their chi. So it's a matter of philosophy. So when people say, we're going to force medicate you, that is an oppressive philosophy. Psychiatry is a pseudoscientific, oppressive philosophy. It is unfair, and the people who do it are sickos who get kicks out of forcing people to do things they don't want to do. And it goes back to their anxieties and their anger. Remember earlier in the video I showed you how panic attacks, panicking, anxiety, and anger are connected. So society is anxious, or at least the social controllers. They have anxieties about the potential ramifications of your behavior based on your philosophy and what they perceive as an inability related to your philosophy to control yourself. You see how that works? So they're going to force their pseudoscientific oppressive philosophy of psychiatry and all the philosophies associated with it. Controlled religious philosophies, you know, New Age philosophies, atheism, agnosticism, Buddhism as it relates to mental health, philosophy of science, and so on. You see how that works? I mean, if you're not allowed to have your own philosophy, that is insane. The only argument that can be made is if somebody is completely crazy. I'm talking about when they go to court, they flip out, they're incapable of rational thought, they're incapable of answering you. And this should be in front of the whole courtroom. Not a courtroom full of gang stalkers either. A courtroom full of diverse people. Watch them, they all can see that, hey, this guy is answering questions. Not this kind of kangaroo court in the psych ward, which is, you know, prime real estate for gang stalking and gaslighting, because there's only a few people and they're all bootlicking cowards, bootlicking the mental health, right? The psychiatrist, your fucking public pretender, the equivalent of your public pretender, your patient's rights advocate, you know, the shrinks, and the bootlicking fucking judges who always rule in favor of the shrinks. pseudo-scientific garbage. It's not even a valid science, and even if it was, who says that they should be able to force it on you? As long as you can pass a very basic test that the average kindergartner could pass, that shows you that you're aware of reality and the potential consequences and the accusations against you. They say, we believe that you are mentally ill and we need to force drug you. You say, you know what? I don't agree with what you think. And even if you did, I don't want to take the pills. I understand the consequences. Therefore, I'm ready to accept any criminal penalty as a consequence of my actions, so that I can follow my religion and my philosophy, which are not compatible with psychiatry. I believe it's 1 Peter 5:7 or 5:8, where it says, be sober, be alert. Because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. It says, my religion teaches me that the people of this world are influenced by the devil and they want to drug me. Okay? And even if you don't see it that way, even if there wasn't drugs everywhere, even if America didn't consume so much drugs, so many drugs, this is still my religion. And I'm ready to accept the consequences of adhering to my religion. And that is also part of my religion. Matthew 10:22. You will be hated because, you'll be hated by everyone because of me, but the one who stands firm to the end will be saved. So you see how this is a clash of oppressive philosophies and philosophies of liberation in its pure form, or rather of freedom in its pure form. To free yourself from the constraints and the bounds and the chains of worldly philosophies, and to connect to your Creator. While they twist it and say that Christianity is the oppressor, and shrinks who soft kill 500,000 people every year in Western countries alone, are your liberators. Wow. Now, Christians might rip people off in the church, like some of these evangelical preachers, these super churches, right? They might do that. But they don't soft kill 500,000 motherfuckers a year and cause permanent cognitive damage like a bunch of anti-Christian garbage. Now, you see how that works? No, hold on a second here. Bear with me. You see these angry outbursts in my videos. Now, what was I mad about? Was that an unreasonable outburst? Or did it build up, like I always say? It built up to that point. I'm talking about something that is very frustrating. I'm talking about 500,000 people dying a year, while a lot of people are playing dumb pussy bitch about it. That was an example of moral outrage and righteous indignation. That cannot be confused with what they describe as a psychotic disorder. That cannot be confused with symptoms of mania. Am I depressed? Am I elated? Can I slow my speech down at the drop of a hat? There is no disorder that is controlling my behavior. There are logical thoughts, effective thoughts, effective correlations and connections as I connect the dots and the facts and present a superior argument to theirs. So I'm going to leave you with this thought. The moral outrage of a man who presents a superior argument will always be superior to the calm presentation of soft-killing eugenicist garbage and their inferior arguments, their falsified evidence, and their lack of consideration of human rights and constitutional rights. Thank you.